the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is work.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone, as always, is having a fantastic day. Before we go too far, mic check, mic check. Give me a heads up on the comments down below. Let me know that we are good to go with the sound. I was having some mic issues with my setup, so you know what? Let's throw on the old system where we actually have the headset and the mic on that. Give me a good heads up on that one as well, to let me know that we are all good to go before I get too crazy with it. And we actually start diving in. Sound is A1. I appreciate that. Intrepid Pulse Hex, much love on that as well. How is everyone doing, man? What is going on? We've got a couple of months in a row of red candles in the PulseChain ecosystem. We got some crazy news happening in the crypto world in general. We have the announcement of a couple of different things coming on with ETFs getting approved in Thailand and everything like that as well. And of course, the ETF getting approved with Ethereum was massive, massive bullish news. So I appreciate everyone coming through, man. I hope everyone has been doing good. I hope everyone's keeping their head up, making sure that you're staying straight, going and touching grass, getting outside, enjoying life, because again, the crypto gains are coming, folks. So do not let the boredom get you into a load of trouble. This is what commonly happens in the world of crypto. You get bored because things don't happen fast sometimes. And again, in that situation, for those of y'all who are waiting, shout out to y'all, man. Salute. It takes a little bit of discipline, should I say a lot of discipline in some scenarios, to make sure that you just do nothing if you are getting fudded out of your bag. If you feel any fear or uncertainty or even doubt popping up, this is when most people will get shook out of their bag and their positions. And salute to everyone who's actually holding strong, because again, the gains are in fact coming. But neither here nor there. Let's take a look at some charts real fast, man. Today we're diving into some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, altcoins if you decide. We're going to be diving into the PulseChain ecosystem as well, looking at some community price predictions. I've given you my thoughts in the past on where I think these things can go, but now I'm going to be looking to see what the community is also saying as well over on Twitter. So I hope, as always, folks, y'all enjoy. Y'all have a wonderful day, a wonderful time. If you do appreciate the content, as always, be sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe, come back to the channel for even more content that is very similar to what you're about to see today. Diving in on some charts, though, real quick. We got Bitcoin currently sitting at $70,505, and this is very, very bullish. Even on the weekly chart right here, you can see last week, it wasn't able to close above 70,000. You can actually see it got a close of 67,752, and even before the week there as well was 68,489. So Bitcoin hasn't had a weekly close above 70,000 really since the end of March, right? March 25th was the last time it actually had a weekly close above that. Now, yes, we've had some candle wicks that have popped up above it. One thing I'm noticing right from the bat is the 9 and 15 EMA on this one for the weekly did do a cross back here, which tends to actually be bearish in that scenario. But I just think we're definitely just kind of either capitulating, going sideways with the price. So I'm not going to say this is actually like a bearish situation when that cross happens. Tends to typically be some bearish candles, but neither here nor there. We're going to be diving in. Can it close this week above 70,000 again? Something it hasn't had a chance to do since, again, the end of March, folks. So we had April and May already passed where it couldn't close a weekly candle above 70,000. Could the beginning of July be when it can close above 70K? We're definitely going to be diving in to this and more. Looking at the daily, though, I will say it's looking very, very bullish on this one, right? You can see over here, just looking at the actual chart, again, the 915 bouncing all around, doesn't know which way it really wants to go just yet, but it tends to actually want to go into a bearish or a bullish direction. You can see we actually had a nice little trend line forming back here. When it broke below, it did in fact go lower. This time we had that same trend line drawn out actually from really the middle of May is when I started drawing this trend line out, and just to see what would end up happening. And you can see it held above, which tends to in fact be a bullish scenario. So this is what I'm looking at. Also looking at the Impulse MACD, this is something that I tend to look at as well. You can see we did go sideways for a period of time right here. And let me just scoot it on over so you can kind of see it a little bit easier. But you can see the blue line is above this orange line right here, meaning it is wanting to go bullish, folks. This is actually a bullish indicator. Again, you can see back over here. I'll pull up the actual chart in a second. But look at February whenever we actually go back, or when we actually really started kicking this off in October, right? So now we're going to look at the actual chart. So October back in 2023, when this was flipping into a bullish scenario, you can see what happened to the price from there. Even going all the way back here to the to this time frame, somewhere in the ballpark of we'll say mid February, somewhere in here, right? Early February, mid February. You can see it also did a massive little rally. As a matter of fact, let's just see what ended up happening. A 73% pump. We're kind of seeing a similar situation happening right now once again with this particular bullish indicator for the Impulse MACD, wanting to actually maintain a bullish direction. So if we were to see a 75% pump from this day, which is roughly from the time, we'll say May 20th or so, somewhere in this ballpark, a 75% pump on this one would actually be a pretty damn good jump. It's up into the 90s at this point. Wow, we're getting up into the 100,000s, folks. So we're talking about Bitcoin being in this 100K range. Now, again, I don't expect it to just go right away. You can see in some cases when it did, in fact, do this last time, it did, in fact, take roughly around 40 days for that to really start kicking off. In October of 2023, it was roughly, I'll even say before it started kind of going bearish on this one, a nice little 60% increase. Once again, dude, this could be seeing 100K Bitcoin by the end of the year, folks. That's all I'm going to say on that one for Bitcoin, which is, again, when you're looking at the overall market, a beautiful indicator to be seeing, especially when we look at the Bitcoin dominance. We were flipping this into a slight little indicator where we were getting altcoin season possibly starting soon. At this point in time, it's flipped back into a Bitcoin dominant scale, so it is still showing Bitcoin remaining dominant right now. I do not believe that we are entering altcoin season just yet, folks. When you start seeing the Bitcoin dominance get into the ranges of 50% and even 45%, which is where I really have my indicator marked down here, that's when you're really going to start seeing the bullish news. Until then, Bitcoin's maintaining its dominance, which isn't a bad thing for the overall crypto space, but it just means that the altcoin market hasn't even had a chance to run yet, folks. So keep that in mind when looking at any other charts out there. Now, just recently, we did have Ethereum come through with their ETF as well. It did just get approved, so now it's just a matter of time before everyone can get the S1s filed. And I actually saw a little article talking about there's also going to be a rush on getting the S1 completed, allowing the actual ETF entities or companies to actually really start getting into the ETF world with Ethereum, right? And so that's probably coming pretty soon. Keep that in mind. You can see from the news of the ETF possibly getting approved to the time it did get approved, we saw a 30% pump actually on that one. And this is actually when it got approved. It was this is definitely a liquidation candle, folks. When you see a massive wick right here, let me just kind of draw this out. When you see a massive wick like this and then a massive wick on top, that's a liquidation candle, folks. People just got absolutely decimated on this day in particular, where there's probably, I don't know, a billion or more people that are $1 billion that got liquidated. So definitely a liquidation candle. However, it is going sideways now at this point in time. So when we are seeing some of these indicators over here, we are flipping into a nice little capitulation zone is what I like to call this. So let's just draw a little rectangle out as a matter of fact. That way we can kind of keep it in mind. This is where I'm seeing prices most likely ranging until something actually ends up happening. Now, again, that doesn't guarantee it's going to stay this way, but we have broken out of that bearish flag that we were, or bearish parallel channel that we were actually sitting in. It broke all the way through that with the news, and then actually almost came back down, tested it as a level of support, didn't quite get there, but once again pushed and held up higher. So if it can really just maintain these ratios until the next event happens, which is probably the ETF S1 applications getting approved, it's going to be very, very bullish for what is about to come, folks. So keep that in mind when I'm looking at this information. Again, this is just what I'm checking out. If it does want to dip down, just a heads up. If it does, in fact, want to go down a little bit lower, again, I would probably be seeing it roughly around this 3,400 range, bounce off this level as a level of support, and then keep on going from there. We'd have to see right away, because I am seeing the 915 slowly start to get into a bearish territory where, again, when you look at the overall crosses on this one, this orange line versus the green line, or red line versus green line, this line versus this line, let's just leave it like that. That tends to actually be that bearish indicator, like I was saying. When the 9 does cross the 15, it tends to go bearish, just like when the 9 crosses the 15 down here, it tends to go bullish. And you can see we've had these happen multiple times where it hasn't quite made a direction in which way the market wants to go. As a matter of fact, just drawing out this particular rectangle box back here, this was its previous capitulation zone right here. This is kind of where it played all up in here. Definitely a huge range where people could be doing things basically since mid-April, okay? And so just looking at it all, definitely good things to be seeing, good indicators to be looking for, and I'll just probably draw this down just a smidge more just so it actually gets a little bit of a candle touch over here. All right, cool. So that's going to be the little capitulation box that I'm going to say where we're going to go sideways during that period of time. And once again, looking at the Impulse MACD on this particular chart, it did flip bullish as well on that May 23rd ETF, buy the rumor, sell the news pump that started to happen. Once again, you were seeing that bullish pump on the actual chart as well. So definitely some good indicators to be checking out. It looks like crypto's wanting to go into a higher level. It looks like we've been in this sideways market at least really since mid-March at this point in time, where the market just kind of decided to go sideways again. I'm not saying it's definitely 100% sideways. Obviously, there were some dips involved, but definitely in this range where it's just kind of making a new support zone, new levels. We retested all those support levels at one point in time. It bounced off them, and now it actually bounced through, making it push past all those resistances, making these levels actually as support again, which is very, very bullish for crypto in general, and of course for Ethereum. Looking at the actual ecosystem of the RH tokens, let's just take a quick little peeky-weeky over here at the actual prices real fast, and then we'll dive into each of the charts as well. Going 24 hours. So again, we got PulseChain currently sitting at 40497, PulseX 40211, incentive $2.47, Hex over on PulseChain 20639, and Hex over on Ethereum 2015, with the ratio still around 1-to-4 ratio. So it is maintaining that ratio pretty heavily. I do love the fact that PulseChain is now being charted. Those lights in the background look like candles in the chart. Facts. That's funny. I do love the fact that PulseChain is now on TradingView, folks. So if you didn't know this as well, we covered it in the last stream, but PulseChain, you can just look it up right in here. Just type in WPLS. You'll actually see the indicator over here for PulseChain if you're wanting to actually chart some of this yourself on TradingView. Again, this is actually pretty damn cool in my opinion, only because I do most of my charting through there. I was using Deck Screener before. Nothing against Deck Screener, but it does make it a lot easier with some of the indicators that I use to actually be seeing it on the actual chart. One of them being Impulse MACD, right? So this is actually one of those massive indicators that I do love seeing. The fact that I can see this now on the TradingView chart is absolutely incredible. Again, you can see plenty of information on over here. May 11th, we were wanting to flip bullish on this one, so you can kind of see what was on around this May 11th time frame. We've kind of gone sideways, if not a little bit lower, but again, we are still below the zero line for the Impulse MACD. We want to break above the zero line and then actually start getting back even higher. So if I was looking at the actual chart, zero line is just this whole middle section right here. One thing I'm looking at right away when I'm seeing it though is we're seeing lower valleys on this one, pushing this into a higher position, meaning if we can get a higher valley going up right here, possibly come back down, going into a higher value over here, that's when you're really going to start seeing that bullish indicator really start showing itself, and the impulse MACD would then be above the 0 line. So we are wanting to flip bullish, y'all. It's just not quite there. And I pulled this up on the Patreon Telegram, or on the Patreon call the other day for the 5P community. Shout out to every single one of y'all. But I put it on a whole video. I broke down every single one of these charts as well. So if you want to check it out, welcome to it, patreon.com/ATXCrypto. Welcome to go check it out. I welcome every single one of y'all, where we have a whole private Telegram and all that good stuff as well. Link in the description down below. Seeing everything that we're seeing over here, though, as I stated to them, it doesn't look like I'm fully seeing the bullish indicators. We are starting to see glimpses of, and I would love to continue to see it right away, right from the jump, is we've been bearish since the middle of March, right? And we've actually drawn this line back over here. Well, we just broke this trend line over here as of yesterday. This is one of the first indicators that you would like to see when you actually are looking at the chart. We have broken through that first trend line right here. Not only that, the 9 is slightly curving back around, and if we can get this to start doing this, that is again that bullish indicator number 2 right there. Impulse MACD would be bullish indicator number 3, and of course breaking through previous levels of resistance / support would be bullish indicators number 4. That's when things start really starting to rally in the way of an upward trajectory. This is a massive descending angle right here, so it wouldn't be too hard to break it, but ideally now we have broke it. We want to continue that upward trajectory. As you're seeing, we did see some bullish positivity today. In fact, right now, it actually went up as high as 40511 at this point in time, and now it's currently back down to 4049. So we're definitely playing in the zone for now, neither here nor there. Good to see that actually happening. Now, the levels of support that I'm seeing, 404785 would be first level, second level 4045. If we do end up dipping down below that price, this would be the next area of support I would look for. If we go below 4045, I will say it's not necessarily the most bullish thing, because then we start getting into the 404 and even below. So ideally, we do want to maintain the 4045 as a level of support for PulseChain, but I can keep that with everyone as well. Looking at PulseX, it's a similar chart. Once again, we are forming a nice little capitulation zone. I drew this out for the Patreon members as well, but just to see, this is a previous capitulation zone where we broke below it. We played in here for a little bit of time, and then we broke below once again. So I drew this same box once again to say that we've broken below. We can essentially maybe plan to see something similar. So what I did was a quick little bars pattern, just to kind of show like what happened when it broke below last time. And you know, if it was to end up doing something similar, we would probably end up playing in here in this range. So if you do have some dry powder ready, be ready, folks, because this is when you could possibly see 4017 show up. It may only be here for a little bit, but if you are wanting to get that nice little bag right before the pump really happens, now could be the potential time. So I love seeing the charts over here. Once again, on the Impulse MACD, we are wanting to flip bullish on this one. I just want to keep on seeing this trend happen, right? We've seen it go up a few times where, again, we're making those higher valleys, or smaller valleys, should I say, on an upward trajectory. Now we want to see on the other side up here on the Impulse MACD to really start showing that bullish indicator. But once again, folks, that blue is wanting to separate from the orange, and just good stuff, man. Good stuff that I'm seeing, at least on the small scale side of things. And again, we want to be diving into where people are going on some price predictions. So let me say hello to some beautiful people in chat real fast, and then we'll get into some price predictions as well. And I got Prospector in the house. What's up, Prospector? How you doing? Logan's Run. What up, ATX? Much love to you, my friend. Yo, Prospector. Yep, ATX in the house. For show, for show. Let's buy some meme coins. You do you, booty. So, man, anytime that people talk about meme coins, just have an exit plan. That's all I'm going to say. What's your long-term plan, right? Like, meme coins are fun. They can make some quick gains. If you do it responsibly, it can be fun. What tends to happen is Pandora's box opens, and what you end up doing is you start out small because it's a meme coin. You say, I'm going to toss $100 into it, and then it turns into 500, and you're like, holy shit, that was awesome. Nice little 5X. I'll go buy more of the actual core tokens. or whatever you end up doing. Or maybe you go even a step further into the degenerate world where you say, I'm going to take that 500 now and I'm going to throw it in the next one. And then you see a quick 3x and you're like, oh my God, that 500 is now $1,500. Started out with 100, I now have $1,500. Meme coins are awesome. Meme coins are so much fun. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go heavier, man. Why am I messing around with $1,000 whenever I could be going in with $5,000 or whatever, man, whatever it is? And that's whenever people tend to get absolutely wrecked because they've made some quick gains. They see that little 500 turn into 15. They're like, why wouldn't I just do that with more money? I can turn 5K into 15K. And for whatever reason that it's out there, man, the crypto gods, whatever it is, they just like to come through and humble you and put you in your place. That tends to be when you end up getting rugged. That tends to be where the price just drops. That tends to be those situations because you've gotten, I don't want to say lucky, you've planned it, you've done what you've done, research, whatever. You were early enough, whatever. And hey, you made some quick money. Congrats. In that situation, just have a long-term plan. That's all I'm going to say on that one. And best of luck to everyone who's playing in the meme coin world. Found A1, appreciate that, my boy. Good to be here. Hope you are all doing well. Yep, sure are. Jazztown, what's up, my friend? Salute to you. Mo digging it. What's good, ATX, man? We're chilling. 10 top in the house. Those candles in the background look like candles in the chart, right? Hello, sir. Glad to see you. Glad to see you too, Dosed Easy. Brewmaster Jerry, heard a shout out from you, Westcott and Pulse Nation from T-Share Teacher video. Nice, dude. I'm gonna have to check it out. I haven't seen that one, but much love to T-Share Teacher on that one as well. Always appreciate the shout outs as well. Thanks for always pushing good content out to us. Thank you as well. Pulse will be green soon. Someday. Yep, Redbird 222, definitely. Memes are fun, but never sell your core. Facts. Stick to the 5 Ps, yep, of proper preparation, preventing poor performance. Folks, it's pretty simple. If you set up a good strategy, whether it be if I join this meme coin and it does X, I'm going to do X, where I'm going to do Y. Just set up something, man. Because what ends up happening is you turn that $100 into $500, and you're like, well, what if it just 2X's again? And it turns into $1,000. And you're like, oh my, what if it just 2X's again? And you never sell, and then it goes down 80%. And then you're back left with, $200 or something in that scenario. And you could have actually had 1,000, or you could have taken profit along the way. Profit taking in meme coins is way different than profit taking in core tokens. Just set up something in mind. What are your thoughts on GIF? I don't mess with it personally at all in that situation. That's another one that whenever I start seeing influencers who I once held of a high regard start promoting that kind of stuff, I tend to disregard it immediately as I see it as a grift nowadays. So GIF is just a short for grift, in my opinion. If it wants to make money, congrats. If it wants to go promote, congrats. If it wants to do whatever, the people who do make money on it, congrats. Like, all the power to you in that situation. But whenever I start seeing people like K4K, someone who I highly respected, disappear for a while, come back and then start talking about it, and it tends to be like this, man. I'll just pull up a quick chart. They tend to do this, right? And again, let's make sure it looks on log so it looks easier and prettier for everyone who could possibly see, because log and not log looks way different, as you can tell, right? Just from looking at the chart. But when did most people start talking about it, right? Whenever I started hearing a lot of people start talking about it, was really mid-May. And from that point in time, that was when you saw a nice little rally, and then all of a sudden it does an 80% dip. So this is what I was talking about with that. You started with 100 here. So you had 100, it turned into 200, right? Let me just kind of see if I can draw this out on a chart. So it turned into 200 right about this point in time. So you're like, cool, 100 turned into 2. Wow, 100 now turned into 1,000. Awesome. What if I wanted to keep on going? 100 now turned into, and this is somewhere in the ballpark. Again, if it was actually early in that situation, this is when you start looking at 100 turn into, 10,000. And then you start looking, dude, what's crazy, right? Blah, blah, blah. And all the people start talking about it at this point in time. And then now you're down here where it drops 80% and the price just kind of hovers now in this little lower range. Still down, we'll say 75% at that point in time from when everyone was talking about it. So you had your 100, you turned it into 2, you turned it into 1,000, turned it into 5,000. You had some chances to take profit. You never took profit. Now you're starting to see mainstream people start talking about it, and all of a sudden, boom, and now drops, and you're left with less than you started with. And a lot of people weren't talking about it back here. Let's just be realistic. Many people weren't saying shit about it back here. A lot of people were only talking about it after the pump happened. So you may have seen it go like this, where you started seeing 100 turn into 1,000. Now that 1,000 turns back into 200 because guess what? You didn't take profit. So take profit, man. That's as simple as it goes. Take profit on meme coins. Have a plan to take profit on meme coins. There's nothing wrong with taking profits, folks. So I do not doubt in taking profits. I recommend taking profits even in your core portfolio tokens, because there's a point in time where you can use those profits to buy the dip if you would like to. You can use those profits to live a better lifestyle. You can use those profits to pay off credit cards. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with profits. You got to remember, though, to take profits, folks. And many times people get greedy. They say, why would I sell it at 1,000 whenever it's going to turn into 5,000, 10,000, 100,000? It's going to $1 million. And at some point in time, you just got to be real. You turn $100 into 1,000, dude. You should at least probably fucking take off half, maybe, right? There's nothing against that, because all the people who were promoting it, they all took profits, man. There's a reason why it dipped 80% like that as fast as it did, right? And this is a pretty fast dip too, folks. Like, you have to understand, this was everyone's pumping, everyone's doing it, and then all of a sudden it goes all the way up, and then boom, 80% dip in the span of 4 days, right? It happens so fast, and this is like, you were waiting this whole time, doing all that. You've already waited since early April, and then in the span of 4 days, it just drops. You're like, holy fuck, what the heck happened? Take profits, man. That's all I'm going to say. And if you're in the green, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. So that's my, P grift. Yeah, exactly. That's my thoughts on GIF, man. Hopefully that helps, Brewmaster. Gift the grift. Yeah, so many grifters launching shit coins. I stopped playing for a while. Working for the memes I have that I believe in. Yeah, dude, of course, man. Thanks for that. Thanks for that 5 and for the Thanks for that dive into the info. Okay, I see what you're saying. Of course. Yeah, exactly. My 5Ps, PulseChain, PulseX, PX, Pulse Nation, plus more, dude. That's freaking awesome, Sertosi. I absolutely love that for sure. The 5Ps, PulseChain, PulseX, PX, Pulse Nation, plus more. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Johnny says, why are meme coins fun? Nobody can answer this, but everybody says it. Meme coins are a way to escape boredom, right? Like look at the chart of, it's dopamine. Exactly. Like Rugburn said it just there. It's dopamine. It's a way of just escaping boredom, dude. Like, you've looked at your chart for a certain period of time. You haven't seen it do anything. Most times these meme coins are launching. They're seeing a quick 2x, 3x out of nowhere. And then you're like, holy shit, which is why meme coins can open a dangerous door to Pandora's box. Because you turn a small chunk of change. Let's just say you invest $10 and you see it turn into 100. You're like, why the fuck would I not do more if I just got a 10x? Why wouldn't I do more? And as soon as you open that thought of whatever it is to like switch your mind to go heavier in meme coins, that's when you just get absolutely backslapped. You know what I mean? Like, they come in and they're just like smack, and you just like get humbled real fast. You come in, this is when you see someone go like this. I'm gonna go in and $5,000 because it's going up. It's only gone up. They put in $5,000 and then bam, they're left with 1,000. You're like, what the fuck happened? And it's because this whole time you've been doing small bits. You turned 100 into 2. You turned 2 into 5. You turned 5 into 1,000. You're like, bro, let's just do it. Let's just fucking go all in. Let's just push the chips in. And as soon as you decide to push the chips in, again, whatever it is out there, the crypto gods, whatever it is, they like to just humble you. And you absolutely get smacked. And at some point in time, just something that, every risk has a reward for sure. Meme coins are more of a fun play just to get escaping boredom, man, for real. Shouldn't have credit card debt before diving in. Get the budget in order. Yeah, I mean, for sure, dude. I don't want to say like you shouldn't have and all that good stuff, right? Because it's like everyone's got a different place in where they're planning on doing with the gains as well. And for some individuals, they're focused on possibly, why pay off a credit card that's $1,000 when you could put $1,000 into crypto and possibly turn it into even more? I'm not going to say that's the right way of doing it, but I've seen so many people go out, and you've heard so many stories about this all the time as well, where people will fucking go and leverage their house, man, and they go crazy, and they're like, all in, right? And it's like, what the fuck? I don't recommend that at all. But then you hear the stories of, I wouldn't do it, but I pushed all my chips in, and boom, I turned it into $1 million or $2 million, and it was well worth it. And I paid off my credit cards by 10 times or more. And you're like, wow, that's so freaking cool, right? It's just kind of comical, man. It's just one of those situations that when it happens, it tends to be crazy, man. Let me just say that. It tends to be crazy. And we're especially entering the bull market right here. So, dopamine facts. I've never ever bought crypto for fun. Only shitcoiners and gamblers buy crypto for fun. Yeah, exactly. Admittedly, I like taking risks. And again, dude, some people will be able to see some profits on it too. Goody213, can we check DWB Impulse? Can we? I don't know. What is DWB looking like lately? I haven't seen this chart in a hot minute. For the sole fact of the name alone, just kind of like steers me away from it personally. But let me just kind of see what the chart's looking like. Oh, they did a terrible liquidity launch as well. I hate when it does that, man. I really do. Just because it gets that one candle that just absolutely just wrecks and messes up everything. All right. Yeah, they fucked up the liquidity on that one for sure. So we'll just kind of pull up here. This is when, again, I sometimes will draw on charts when things like to go on a massive rally and go to the upside. You know, people are like hooting and hollering and all that good stuff. And then all of a sudden prices start dipping. And from here, this is when primarily everybody and their mother started talking about it, right? You started hearing everyone on social media and everyone start coming through. And we're basically back at the same point in time where it was, right? And so if you were early enough, you could have even possibly seen it. But this is what I was talking about, the liquidity launch. Like, whoever set it up in the beginning, they just messed it up completely. So you have to kind of like move the chart over just a smidge so you can see things a little bit better. But just from this point in time, like whoever got in here, dude, they saw a massive 35x, right? 38x. Congrats to those particular individuals. And they're still up even right now because prices haven't really anything. Those are the people who were incredibly early, whether it be insiders, whether it be the risk takers or whatever. And then the next wave up was these people right here where they're up 2x, right? And even right now, yeah, they're still up 2x right here. But primarily for the most part, this thing had already done down a 50% dip again. So when I'm looking at like a chart like this, it doesn't really give me positive information as well. Looking at the EMA cross, 915 crossing below tends to be bearish. We went bearish on this one. Again, it doesn't show signs of a bullish trend just yet as well. So if I was to be looking at, levels, one, you would just pull up like a fib retracement. God dang it, that freaking one candle, man. That one freaking candle. But you would just pull up like a fib retracement on this one and see like levels to be paying attention to would be the 0.5, which basically already got hit. We can draw this out just a little bit more so you can see it a little easier. You'd want to pay attention to the 0.5, which is basically hovering around right now. If it does dip down, most likely the 0.618 gets tested for its 5 zeros, 9 0 over here. And then the 786 is like the last level it would most likely go to before, you start seeing like that's falling knife type stuff at that point in time, or you start seeing like lower lows type deal. So definitely dangerous game to play. But looking at the chart right here, again, I'm not really seeing anything bullish on this one. Volume has, for the most part, kind of started to decline as well. If you were to just kind of draw like a line across the volume chart, volume's kind of declining as well. So nothing too crazy, nothing to make me like, whoa, this is the next one. Hopefully that gives you some better insight there. If you're purposely seeking dopamine, you shouldn't be involved in crypto. Well, crypto is that dopamine, man. And like, right? Y'all are going to sell way too early. That's 100% facts on that one. Why worry about being in debt when you're about to be rich? Facts. Pay the minimum balance, if anything, I guess. Yeah, do something. 50% dip. Yep, sure is. ATX, do you think we benefited from the MEXC listing? Will we? I don't know if we really benefited from it. It's cool to get listed on an exchange, but how are the order executions? If you were to come in with a big old bag, can you even put in a big old bag at this point in time? MEXC doesn't allow people in the U.S. to be involved, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know much about MEXC. I haven't used them before, but for international folks, it's another way of getting onboarded into crypto. I like decentralized finance, man. I really do. You hold your freaking tokens yourself. If you are on MEXC, great, congrats. Move it over into a self-custodial wallet as soon as you're able to purchase it. That way, if something should happen and arise, you are at least covered and clear. You don't have to worry about, what happens next, basically, in that situation. So let me dive into some PulseChain community price predictions over here. Do I think the community benefited from it? I mean, we didn't really see a benefit. I can tell you that much right away. Typically, when tokens get listed on centralized exchanges, it tends to be a sell the news event, which, we saw the price go down, whether it be because they were raising, funds to be able to get it on and listed on MEXC or whatever the reason was. Gotta drink that coffee before it gets cold. All right. I typed in price prediction pulse. I wanted to see how the community was doing. Sota. If y'all haven't seen him, he's an influencer who's definitely rising fast in the ranks of the world. He's been an influencer before in terms of the social media aspect. Minnesota boy with 2 Y's is his name, and he's putting out some people as well. So good stuff here. But he came through, said, here are my price prediction targets for PulseX and Inc. Of course, reaching 5,000 subscribers or followers on Twitter and 500 subscribers on his new channel. He's putting all his credibility on the line. So right here, he's saying price targets for this bull run, PulseChain reaching 2033, which would essentially be a 33% increase from the all-time, or from the SAC price. It would be roughly about 100x from the all-time low situation. PulseChain, or Hex, he is saying 60 cents. He doesn't even indicate if it's going to be Hex over on Ethereum. I assume when he talks about Hex, he's mentioning Hex over on PulseChain. So if we assume the same 1-to-4 ratio as his math is held, we would put Hex around 15 cents over on Ethereum, just as of my simple math. Whether or not he believes that to be the case, I'm not putting words in his mouth or his tweet, but I assume he's talking about Hex over on PulseChain. Excuse me, y'all. PulseX, we got 2015. Again, pretty damn crazy, y'all. Pretty damn crazy, if I do say so myself. Only because, again, we saw the low probably around 4011, right? And so in that situation, if we were to look at that, he's basically saying 100x from as well. So he's keeping it pretty simple on that one. 100x from all-time low, 100x from all-time low. He is putting ink at $525. And what's funny is I was reading through the comments, and people were stoked about a 525 ink. They didn't really care so much about all the other price predictions, but he's saying freedom ecosystem or ecosystem. I don't know if it was mentioned or done intentionally for the echo in that regard, styled that way for an echo chamber. I don't know if it was done intentionally or how that worked, but you got LOLs saying I absolutely adore 525 ink. PLS it is then. 30x from day one. SAC is a failure, maybe not in terms of overall investment, but you can make it in the world of finance. But in crypto, 30x for all the hype this chain has had is an embarrassment to RH. You're off your tits. Some people love it. Some people didn't really care for it. The big one was the ink. People absolutely loved it. So I thought that was kind of funny. Going to the next one, there's Understanding Crypto. This is another person who threw out a couple of items, and I believe it's just through the fib retracement levels on log and non-log. It's kind of how I'm seeing this. But PulseX and PulseChain price predictions. Conservative, he's saying 3067 for PulseChain. Ultimate, he's saying 2012. So again, we have Sota over here, 2033. We have this particular individual's 2012. I'll just be as clear and transparent as possible with y'all about these predictions. When it's a bear, people predict low. When it's a bull, people predict really high. So just keep that in mind when I'm looking at these. Here's your price predictions for Pulse over the next 2 years. ETH launched in 2015, bottomed near its SAC rate of 40 cents. Then in 2 years, it did a 50x from all-time low, went down and bottomed at 13x from all-time low, went back up 3,350x from all-time low. So they're estimating if it did a similar system and played out the same way, a 50x for PulseChain would be 2016, a 13x would be 3043, and then it goes back up, and then it goes back up 3300x, which would be 11 cents for PulseChain. I want to see how many people. Okay, only 300 people like this so far. Oh, 24,000 people, saw that one. So I'll give it a little hard on that one, just because again, it's always fun. But if you were to pull out the actual chart of how it did it, why it did it, how it went, where it went, this is showing roughly by the end of 25, you'd be looking around 11 cents for PulseChain if it followed a similar system of going up, going down, going back up again. So pretty damn interesting how it's all working on that one. Get ready for a potential 50x from all-time low. That's the next move. Then in the following local bottom, we could be sitting around 4x above SAC. Not bad for a bottom. When exponential phase of the bull run hits, we may see PulseChain hit 10 cents. Call me crazy, right? And so let me just kind of give some hearts over here so that way I know that I actually already looked at these as well. If I go back and look at price predictions in the past. We have another one. This is actually coming from Crypto Power Talk. Kaisa, of course, doing the clips over here saying, I think PulseChain can flip Ethereum. And that's what Crypto Power Talk says. He's talking about PulseChain possibly reaching 3 pennies, which if you know from my estimations, I also think PulseChain is around 3 pennies as well. My estimation for PulseChain is around 3 pennies. My estimation for PulseX is around this penny level. So I'm in the same ballpark as this particular individual. And I'd say anywhere between 3 to 8 cents for PulseChain, anywhere between 1 to 3 cents for PulseX, and anywhere between $500 to $1,000 for Inc. So those are my particular ones as well. Give it a little heart there. Okay, this is back from February 15th, right? And again, I don't think they break it down on what he thought the price prediction would be. I think he did say 100x, if I'm not mistaken. Robbie Davidson posted the video of BitBoy doing his whole conversation of what he thought the price prediction would be. I forget the exact one. And now we're getting into like January 31st, and this is where things just start getting fun, right? So by January to May of 2025, Hex reaching $1, eHex reaching 50 cents, PulseChain reaching 3 pennies, and PulseX reaching 1 penny. That would be hard pressed by May of 2025. Personally, I think that's closer to the end of 2025, but neither here nor there. That's from Crypto Coffee on his clip. I think it's more likely that we're going to be seeing those in September or later in 2025. But hey, man, it's always fun to see some price predictions on some ecosystems and how it all ends up working out. So those are kind of where I'm seeing on some price predictions. What are your thoughts on some of this stuff? This guy's trash and he's racist. Damn, Dosteezy. Interesting. I assume you're talking about Soda, just because I've seen some of the clips that he's posted in the past. If you actually watch his clips, man, I'm not gonna lie, he breaks down some interesting stuff, but neither here nor there. It's not my place to come through and say which way is which way, right? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion as well. Inc to $1,000, yes sir. Imagine, folks. Inc sitting at $1,000. And by the way, I didn't pull up the chart for Inc on this one today, but just imagine, folks. This is what I'd see Inc doing, by the way. So right now we're in a downward, we'll say descending triangle, descending wedge, whatever you like to call this right here. this is kind of how I see it playing out as well. This is a little prediction that I had just for now. In the next coming couple of weeks, this doesn't mean where the prices are actually going to end up going. And I've pulled this in the past as well, but when you pull the fib on some of these charts, and you start looking at the 1618, the 2618, and let me just flip this into a log type style, or non-log type style. Oh, no, I did actually have to be log. Okay, so I don't want to get too crazy with it here, but this is when you start seeing like ink reaching $74. You see ink reaching $2,000 here. And again, that would be pretty damn freaking crazy. Again, that's just kind of going from not necessarily all-time high. That's why this doesn't really give the same chart. Let me see if I can pull up ink over here. And all right, cool. It's pulling up from the same thing because again, I didn't pull it from all-time high. Let me set this up real fast. Give me 1 second, y'all. Fib, all-time high, all-time low. All right, cool. And take this off real fast. All right, cool. So this is when you start seeing these little indicators over here. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out this exact same way, but when I'm looking at it just from a brief glimpse, it's starting to be $130 per ink token, which, by the way, you can go farm ink right now on PulseX and get quite a bit for not that much. You can get 2618 getting $210, 3618, which commonly does get hit right before the top, which is a 4.236. So $290 to $340 for the ink token is kind of where I'm sitting. Again, being that it's tied together through liquidity and all that other stuff. I've pulled it up in the past as well, but because it's tied together through some liquidity with PulseChain, if PulseChain goes off and hits 3 cents whenever I'm doing some of the math, it would put ink around $500 to $1,000. So fun figures over there, what I'm seeing. And this is kind of what I'm looking at over on the ink chart. If we do break out of the descending triangle or descending wedge that we're sitting in right now, going bullish. If we don't, we play in here until it goes down lower. So get ready for $2 possibly incentive token, and then it actually decides to break out one way or another. So that's what I'm seeing on the ink chart as of recently, or as of a more recent time scale of what we can be looking at. Again, because we aren't flipping over here bullish yet on the Impulse MACD. I do pay attention to this, and at this point in time, it does look like it is still on a bear side. Once again, we are forming those little higher valleys though, so we just want to see that really continue and start seeing some massive stuff. Hopefully that makes some sense over here. Yeah, Pulse to 38 cents. Obviously I take that. I take 11 cents all day, of course. And it's always fun to kind of do some math as well. So just getting up to like 100 million, let's just say you got up to 100 million PulseChain, for example, and it did reach the 11 cent range. Well, you're looking at $11 million right there. So keep that in mind and multiply it by however many hundreds of millions of Pulse you actually have, which is why you don't want to be selling the core assets right now. It's way too freaking early to be doing that. Don't be silly and sell your future. That would just be a very silly thing to do, right? Very silly. You right, of course. Thanks a lot. Thanks for all of your hard, diligent work. Perseverance, ATX, best RH influencer around. Never capitulate on your personal plan. Of course not, man. Appreciate that, Rugburn. Glad to see you out here grinding. Love the content. Pulse Nation, keep it up, bro. All right, man. Much love. That's going to be my predictions. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below, where you think the prices are going. If you think we're absolutely all just smoking crack and we're all crazy and it's just a dead chain or whatever, or if you think that we're smoking crack and it's going to be going up to $5 for PulseChain. Either way, let me know down in the comments below. So much love to every single one of y'all. I should be back tomorrow with another Wednesday, my dudes. Now that I'll just be back rocking the headset. Couldn't get the other audio stuff working, neither here nor there, but hopefully the audio has turned out to be amazing. And if this is what I got to do, then it is what it is, my friends. Other than that, stay calm and remain strong. Peace.
I want to take a minute and thank all of our Patreon members over on patreon.com. Also want to thank all the badge members for YouTube membership.